Put your red shirt on and a brown coat too. Everybody's joining the crew. We got just one drink that we rule them all. Hope you'd remember your thoughts. Get your Uru feathers and your Middle guns. A sonic screwdriver or a sword plus one. Use Valerian steel if it will get you to come. To the pit tank. To the pit tank. The Rocky Mountain pit tank.
Hi, I'm Guy.
Hi, I'm Troy.
And this is Birthday Tank. Geek Tank.
Your cake-sized podcast. And it's an Alex.
The Alex.
Powering up the computer. Well, to answer your text from earlier, yeah, let's get together for coffee, Guy.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was kind of trying to do you'll probably be up here dropping off your kids. Do you want to get together for coffee? Because I was doing a whole bunch of work for school. And so I was like, I didn't broadcast this morning because it's boring to watch me write essays. And so I don't broadcast. And I have to write all these essays now.
Yeah, today wasn't a good day, but someday in the future should be better.
I'm open.
And there's our Brent. Thank you for the happy birthday, and thank you for the post on Facebook.
Yep.
Although it feels more like it's thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. It feels more like it's Nick's birthday because we just went out and bought a ridiculous amount of Warhammer stuff.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. If
enjoying a hobby with your kid is a good way to spend time.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, Brent, to answer your question, I have to do these essays for my entrance stuff to CU Boulder.
To prove that you know how to write.
Yep. My biggest problem is there's a word limit.
Good luck.
Right? Because I'm like, this is the bestest essay ever. 250 word limit. Look down, 750 words. Crap.
Editing's a thing.
Yep.
I go the wrong way every time. But yeah.
Well, I'm teaching them how to be frugal and not to buy at MSRP. That's the trick I'm teaching them, Brent. Where we bought someone's stuff off of Facebook who has hit that point in their life where they have more games than they can play and are having to decide what to get rid of, which works in Nick's favor.
He's
got Skaven Fever, which should be like a song from the 80s. I think your alerts are going off there.
I think it's trying to signal B.
Send help.
Oh, yeah. S-E-N-D.
Gonna start having the seizure. There's flashing lights will be used in this episode.
Right.
Yep.
Well, gosh darn it. The stuff I want to talk about, we're not allowed to talk about yet. So.
Oh, NDA. Okay.
Have you been keeping up on that, Alex, by chance? Because you're not part of Facebook. How do I do this vaguely?
Let's just assume no.
Okay. It's an NDK situation that since all three of us are part of NDK in some way, but we're also part of a geeky podcast / pseudo journalism. We're in that line of like what we cover is local geeky stuff, and NDK is a local geeky thing. And now there's this potential thing that has come up that there's two sides of the story. And as a journalist, I kind of want to get both sides of the story.
Oh my. Now I'm curious.
But
can you like put a link in the private chat or something?
I think so. Let's see.
Well, and I watched the video that guy said.
Yeah. Now, if you can ignore all the stupid stuff, that's like there's a few things there that's like, really, why are you wasting your breath on this? There's clearly
I never get caught on video for my crimes, so it doesn't involve me.
Right.
No. So
there's a couple of things that if what he is saying is true, then that means it wasn't handled very well. But the question is what he's saying true?
Well, So here's the thing. What he is saying is true, provided you assume that everybody in IndieK is some evil taskmaster and you're just waiting to see us slip up. Then it's
Well,
true.
yeah,
Um,
obviously.
I mean, like, for
I bring
example,
flogs for a reason.
one of the things that he brought up was that we put out a post saying, hey, somebody has parked their car in this zone, it's going to get towed. And then
It's
it
never
didn't
towed.
get towed.
This is one of the things that I was just referring to, saying there's some things he talks about that's just stupid.
And
That
I'm like,
he should have just left.
so
Because-
that, and I even said that in my explanation. I said, of
Will
course,
allow
it
me to
wasn't.
retort.
What had happened was it was one of the Yatasha cars, and the Yatasha cars can get behind in the valet parking zone, whereas no one else can. Just the Yatasha cars and the food trucks and the valet. Well, he had parked the Yatasha car opposite a food truck, and they needed to get something big through there. I don't remember what it was. They needed to get a big truck or something. And the Gaylord was like, we're just going to tow the car. It's fine. And we're like, whoa. It's an Yatasha car. So we were like, it's an attendee car. It doesn't really matter. So we put out on social media, hey, guys, they're going to tow this.
Please come move your car before it gets towed.
Go move your car before they tow it. Well, then obviously somebody either talked the Gaylord down or
the person who was
just never
supposed to
became an issue, or they found another way to get the truck in there or whatever. So it just dissipated.
Mm-hmm. And people kept posting pictures saying, hey, why is this car still here? We thought it was going to get towed.
Right, exactly. So it's kind of like, haha, we caught you. And I'm like, doing what? The other one that he was talking about was the DoorDash things. He was saying that, we had put out a post saying, hey, all of the delivery people have just told us that, you're on your own. Yeah. So don't bother ordering DoorDash. Or if you do bother ordering DoorDash, you're taking your chances on that one. And of course, then everybody ordered DoorDash to prove us wrong. And I'm like, all we did was call DoorDash and say, hey, what are you doing? And they're like, oh yeah, your Gaylord's too hard to get to. So we're not letting people go, or we're not letting people go there. Yeah, we're like, can we find a way to like make a parking space for them or something? No, there's nothing you can do. Okay, cool. We'll tell our attendees, don't bother. So we told our attendees, and then he's like saying, see, they lied because DoorDash was here. Okay, but that's not us. That's DoorDash.
On that part,
it's supposed to just be a miscommunication.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, I mean, even in the post that we posted, it doesn't say we are banning DoorDash. It says, look, guys, DoorDash has told us they're not going to make it there, or whatever. I don't know what the wording was, but it says it. Mm-hmm. Now, it says specifically.
At least that's out of the few things he did say that was like utterly ridiculous. At least this, being a paranoid person, I can at least I can connect the dots that he's connecting.
Yeah,
which I can tell you because you're not a paranoid person, but it's hey guys, we can't get DoorDash this year. They're not going to deliver to us. Here's the menu to the stuff that we're selling.
Right.
So I can see him going, aha, you want us to buy your stuff, so therefore
that's
you told
what
us
he said in the video. But we're a 501c3. We can't make any money off of that. In fact, we lose money.
That doesn't matter.
We lose money every year for the food trucks and the cafe. We lose money, and we do it because the Gaylord's like in the middle of nowhere. And it would really suck if we didn't have food, and the restaurants at the Gaylord are really expensive. So that was our compromise. Knowing
but to a paranoid person, they think there's kickbacks going on under the table,
right?
So you can't.
And that's what I'm saying is like
a negative. So you can't say I can't prove to you we're not taking kickbacks under the table,
right?
Because
there's that's back to there's nothing you can do if you're paranoid. But
right,
I mean,
he was angry because he had just been banned.
Right.
Life. So
and that brings us to the room block situation,
which is the only valid point that I think he was making that I really want to get the evidence and truth on, is to know how was this room thing handled.
So here's what happened in the Marriott.
Are you allowed to talk first?
Oh yeah, as the con historian, I can talk about the history of this particular rule.
Okay.
I cannot talk about his condition at all.
And you
or
can't
what's
talk about
happening
as
with
to
him.
what had responded. You can't, yeah, knowing what was actually responded to them and how professional or unprofessional it was is
I
something
can't
that
discuss
needs.
that at all.
Right, that's the journalistic part that I want to dig into at some point, if possible. But
Yeah.
yes, go ahead and talk about the history of how
But
rooms are done.
historically, we've had a problem with both the Marriott and with the Sheraton, with people will wait until our room block opens and then buy a bunch of rooms for people who are not part of NDK. Worse than that, they notoriously will come in and then whine about all the noise on their floor because they're in the NDK block, and complain about the cosplayers, and you know what I mean? Like, why is it so noisy here all the time? Well, there's a convention going on and you bought the rooms in the middle of the convention block. You know, well, they were cheaper rooms. Like, that's an excuse. So we started doing okay, here's the deal. We're going to start connecting these two and saying, if you don't have an actual ticket to the con, we're going to use that as then we're gonna decide you are probably not part of the con and boot you out of the room block, because that's not fair. Because of course, not only did they do that, but they also displace somebody, right? Let's say Alex was going to come to the con. Alex is definitely a member of the con. Well, he doesn't have a room now because all the rooms are sold to all the airline pilots that came through, and they bought up all the room blocks.
Airline pilots complaining about noise? Just drink some more fucking booze, you dumbasses.
Right. So there's that. So
Stereotyping
what,
for
what
fun
had
and profit.
happened in this instance was, we've been doing this as sort of a thing that we do for the attendees, where we do that, but we don't just block out those who bought tickets. We've been, researching each one and kind of looking through it and trying to match it, because obviously this person's going by a different name, but we know the person, so that's not so hard, and yada yada yada, right? So what has happened is, in the last couple of years, we've been trying to come up with ways to do this that will speed it up, because it's a big, monstrous problem. It's like, it takes time to associate all these people, because, like, one of the people in our thread had said, what if they use an alias? Well, we have to go figure out if your alias is really you and then connect those two together. But the thing that's so frustrating about this is, we're doing it because we're trying to help the attendees. It doesn't, it if 1,000 pilots and crew from various United Airlines or whatever popped in and yeah, there you go. And 1,000 pilots and their crew popped in, then it would make no difference to the con financially. It makes no difference. It's the same. We sold out our room block. The Gaylord would be happy. So it would be totally reasonable. And so to us, it means nothing. But of course, we'd rather have 1,000 of our people there than 1,000 airline pilots. And frankly, it's one of those things where it's like, well, I mean, like, it's not cool for us to negotiate this cool little thing and then somebody to abuse it. It's more prevalent now because we're at the Gaylord, and getting a room at the Gaylord comes with the resort. So people are actually kind of waiting for us to drop a room block now to snag some rooms in there at half price, so that they can stay at the Gaylord and go swimming all the time on effectively the con. Meanwhile, kicking a whole bunch of people out. What this guy is talking about, he's like misinterpreting all of it. I mean, like, he's like twisting it into some way that we can make $1 zillion out of it. Or I don't know. But his issue isn't, I mean, what he's saying isn't what we banned him for.
Right. So let me, since I've been digging into this a lot, to the best I can, and I apologize to this fella if I'm not representing him correctly, because I haven't talked to him. I would love to interview him so I can actually get to the important stuff and skip over the stuff that seemed ridiculous to complain about, like somebody posting a picture of a cat. Like, what? But
Yeah, I know.
it's like, you have a valid thing that you're talking about, and you're muddling it with all this other stuff that doesn't matter. But his thing was, he wanted to get the discount on the room. He was going to attend NDK and apparently has been a long-term person who has attended NDK and does cosplay and such. When the post came out saying the thing about you can only get the discount if you get your pre-reg name and blah, yada, yada, he hadn't gotten the discount, although he had met the requirement of getting the pre-registration number. He tried contacting NDK and was not getting a solid answer on why he hadn't gotten that yet. He got a vague kind of, oh, don't worry, everything will turn out fine, which made him concerned because he's like, well, I can't take that to court. If I don't get my money back, someone saying everything will be fine will not get me my money back. So he wanted more of a reassurance to that this is going to work. And apparently he's extremely popular and knows lots of people who are going to NDK and was concerned about his friends not getting their money back, even though they had pre-reg badges and rooms and such. So the more he kept asking about it, the more he apparently kept irritating people. And he posted responses that seemed on the line to just over the line of being polite, business-like responses. So I think whoever he was talking to probably was getting irritated at the way it was being handled. And at some point he canceled his room and sent one more message to NDK trying to follow up on it, and was accused of manipulating the system and preventing somebody from getting the room that he had reserved and then canceled on last minute. And that was what he claims the ban was for.
Yep. And that's a misrepresentation.
But again, as a journalist, I kind of need to know. All I know, because I am just a staff person, even though I'm an area head, so I'm slightly above some.
And you're not under the NDA, so you don't.
Not that NDA. I'm under different NDAs, but I'm not under that NDA.
Unfortunately, Alex is also
right. I'm the only one out of the three of us that's not on the board.
Hey, Rotten Ralph, you're hearing something odd. What are you hearing?
Your voice.
Oh, yeah, that is odd. Your mom.
But it's give me a second because he derailed me there. Yeah, I'm the only one who could theoretically do this and technically be considered unbiased. But it's what I had heard as a staff member. I too had seen the post at the all staff meeting. Hey, staff, don't order from DoorDash. DoorDash told us they're not going to deliver here, so don't waste your time. Yeah. And so we as staff members had heard the same thing the attendees had heard.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I didn't take that as a, you better not order or you'll get in trouble. It was more of a, like, you probably shouldn't order because odds are you're not going to get it. And then you might have to end up in a situation where you're trying to get your money back and deal with that whole mess. Whereas Tara had said to me, it's like, when you ordered from there, you ordered for your entire staff. So odds are whoever gets that order is going to see the size of the amount of money you're putting into it and the tip that's obviously going to come with it. And they're going to deliver to you. But if you're some attendee ordering one slice of pizza, they're probably not going to deliver to you when they could make 5 other deliveries in the amount of time it would take to make that one delivery. So I'm not sure. So it is kind of hyperbole at everybody was told they're not supposed to order, or they were said you can't order. It was more of a warning kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I read, and the problem that I've got with that particular instance was reading back over that. It still reads to me like, hey guys, we tried, didn't work, don't bother. Mm-hmm. As opposed to, you will be banned if you try to, right. It doesn't sound, I reread it and I'm like, it still doesn't sound, it still doesn't sound like we were being, and like the parked car thing, that was a, hey guys, there's a car parked out there. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the hotel said, hey, this is going to happen. NDK went, oh crap, we better let them know.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't followed up. It wasn't like NDK. I mean, had NDK not said anything and the car got towed, then the whole reverse would be, why didn't NDK warn us?
Why didn't NDK warn us?
So it was a no-win situation.
Well, and the thing was, the year prior, DoorDash and all of those guys were, 90 minutes, 120 minutes, sometimes 140 minutes before they delivered. Mm-hmm. And it was getting to the point where it was ridiculous. And we were getting the same thing. We were getting the other side of it, which was, why isn't NDK finding out a better way for these guys to get in here? The parking's horrible. And I'm like, the parking's always been horrible. There's no way we have this massive place with this huge parking lot, and it still isn't enough. There's just not enough parking. Mm-hmm. And I even remember us here at Geek Tank, we did a little thing about parking at the Sheraton
Mhm.
because the Sheraton's parking was horrible.
Yeah,
And the Marriott filled up its parking lot before noon Friday.
we filmed a how-to.
Right.
Here's the places to park at to catch the light rail to get to the Sheraton.
Exactly.
So
You can't park your bus there. No.
no.
But I mean, that's
Mhm.
the problem. And the problem that I've got with this is all three of these complaints that he had brought up were things that we were doing that A, cost us money, and B, cost somebody time, and C, was done for the benefit of the attendees. And he's turning them all into it's proof that we're evil. And I don't know. And my whole thought on this one, well, you know, it's one of those things. My whole thought on this one is, why would we bother?
Yeah. Well,
know-
that's right. It needs if not me, someone who is not connected to the guy or can be unbiased to the situation needs to take it out there, because right now the public's only getting that one
Yeah, I
side
know.
of things.
And the biggest problem we've got is every time some idiot like me opens their mouth,
Mhm. you
things
say
go
something
sideways.
wrong. but yeah,
I mean,
but your
that's my
intentions
whole
are
problem is I'm looking at the thread that I am definitely evil. It's true, Darth. So, but my whole thought here is that all of that thread that I just posted in there, I've gone over the line a couple of times because I just yammer, and I
Right.
really shouldn't have.
You're not concise.
Well, it's not just I'm not concise.
Mhm.
I'm saying probably more than I should. And the first time I said something, I was trying to be circumspect, and that made me suspicious. They
Mhm.
were all suddenly suspicious of me because I was trying not to say things. And so I was like, whoa, 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 I need to get out of here. And then
And
the
then you didn't.
response to that one was, no, you don't. You just need to do better on what you're saying. And I'm like, okay, but like, yikes, guys. So the problem we've got is that we've had this problem before where we allowed area heads to talk and argue and stuff, and then we had this huge blow up that wiped out like an entire division of staff members because they all quit and people resigned and lawsuits were threatened, and it was all because the person who was talking was tired at the time and didn't say things in a very political way.
Mhm.
Said things just rough and harsh, and the person got really offended and people joined their side, and all of a sudden there was a war. So now we're at this, no one can post except for the social media team, and it must be vetted.
Mhm.
Which means that he's going on and chattering all he wants, but we have to all have a meeting before we can actually respond.
Mhm. Well,
And that's
yeah,
why I was
well,
saying it's not fair.
because it's more of, I'm hoping, and don't want to assume, but I'm hoping that there is whoever the HR person is, the one who's having the meeting, saying, look, this person needs to be contacted and we need to talk to them
He
and we need
was.
to find out. Okay, then it's already happened. But
Mhm.
it's but as a journalist, I have to give everyone the benefit of the doubt and not assume that anyone's wrong until I get all of the story. So I don't want to assume this person did something. As a staff member, I had heard different things as to what went down, and that
Right.
his story is not the story I had heard. But because he's telling a different story, as a
Now
journalist,
you're curious.
now I'm curious, because it's somewhere in the middle is the way it always is.
And
What I heard is not entirely true, and what he's saying is not entirely true. So trying to find where that middle ground is what's happening.
since I was there during the whole time, I will say before
Exactly,
any
Ralph.
action was taken, we discussed and
Well, yeah.
made sure that we were doing the correct procedure for the right thing. We knew he was a long-time attendee. We knew who he was. We
Mhm.
knew how long he'd been there. And like I was saying in my thread, that should tell you something. It's not
Right.
like it was
It wasn't a single
arbitrary.
person who got angry at him.
Right. It's not like it was arbitrary. We had a long discussion about it. We all discussed it. There were cool heads in the room having a discussion. And we knew his history. We knew what he did at NDK and how he served NDK. And that was weighed in.
Okay.
And so that's why I was trying to say to the individual that we're talking about. I'm like, there's more to this. Please don't stop going to Indicate because of it.
Right. Well, I don't think they'd been for years. But the thing
Probably
that
not, but they're influential in the community.
Right. Well, I was
and
also
so I didn't
concerned
want
that they
them
were
to-
making the decision never to even give it a try again because of what they were hearing.
Right.
Any case, I have questions that you probably can't answer. So just say no if you can't answer these.
Okay.
Was
No.
the room in question? Was there more than a single room in question here?
I can't answer that one.
Okay, because this is going off of things that I've heard, and I don't know if I misheard it or what. Can you answer? Has this person ever caused any trouble for NDK in the past?
I can't answer that because it's a historical question, and the answer is no.
Okay, so this is the first time thing. So yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Hopefully, stuff can get out. Well, that's because Alex is smart and isn't on Facebook and doesn't get inundated with all this crap.
Right. So you want to push the button?
I've been pushing the button. I'm doing it right now.
You're doing it right now.
Alrighty. I wonder if we can get this guy to sponsor us.
Right.
Oh, we got to add that new one. But I didn't see him on the thing.
I can't because I don't have controls yet. Geek Tank is sponsored by Kieran Games, Geekway Homes, Do Gooder Games, and your
mom. So there, I'm going to leave that up for just a moment.
Yep, that works.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, Rotten Ralph. I don't know what's going on, and
So
I guess more importantly, I kind of don't care.
You don't just kind of.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the other thing. It's kind of like my board game room is so removed from this, other than simply being in the same building and under the banner of NEK.
Well, and that's part of the problem that I was having with this whole thing, which is, they're sitting there. You're not a good sponsor. Well, that's that's the problem. Like, it's a blanket statement that everybody is something. And I'm like, most of us didn't even know what was going on. And, we're all geeks and we're all volunteers and we're all doing whatever we're trying to do. And this individual was not something everybody and their uncle heard about. You know what I mean? So.
Aha. Take that.
There you go. Just a sign. Just a sign. I can't access our Patreon, so
I can't delete that. Weird.
Well, that's
nothing. It's weird. Oh, it's because it's on YouTube. I can do that, but that's it. Weird.
Yeah. No, once it's out there, it's out there.
But yeah, they will eventually, right? I could ban us. I could ban ourselves from the comments.
No.
Awesome.
No, they will. It's just a matter of time. And it doesn't hurt to run up because it's definitely on the to-do list.
Until then, we can use that as our leverage to not bother putting their name in there when really it's because we haven't used the time to put their name in there. But yeah,
she's saying you can mod her and she can delete it.
Well, I think I just have to get into YouTube and then I could. I don't have it open because that's how it is. But yeah, I mean, there's clearly a lot going on here, and what's being presented is not everything, and some of the stuff being presented, like I said, it's just reaching and not concise.
Yeah. And we've had some other problems that happened in there. One of them actually did involve Alex's area, but it's been handled. So
get it.
Some things will show up in your to-do list at some point. So there's
Juicy.
That. Is it related to this?
Yeah. So
weird.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, it's after show talk.
Yeah.
Behind
the guy's
closed
not going to be
doors.
here.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know. It depends on whether I'm still working on essays or not tonight. It's boring to go on it. Well, I should still go on for an hour. I didn't go on this morning because I was writing essays and doing stuff like that and calling the. So I'm apparently
who did
a
I
transfer
offend this
student.
year? I don't think I offended anybody this year.
No.
A couple years, I even included like our special guest in the opening toast.
You got to work harder.
Wait, what are you
I,
talking about, Alex?
Effortless effort, Troy. Effortless effort. Take it from a long time area head. You will
What do you?
offend
Oh, you mean
people
what
when
I'm
you don't
talking
offend-
about with you?
Yeah, I'm like,
No, it doesn't. It involves your area. It does
like
not
Spike
involve
Spiegel
you.
a couple years ago. I am my area, but no, like Spike Spiegel, he was pretty funny. He was all like not wearing his mask. We had a mask mandate. And
Oh
everyone has to wear
no!
a mask.
Stop
And he was
guessing.
and he was all like, "Oh, you're just some guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, let's go with that. I'm just some guy." You security or something? Nope. Then no. I'm like, okay. I'm just gonna walk out the door, spot the first security person I see. Oh, I happen to know them because I've been working the con for ever. Hey man, need a badge punch, thanks.
Yep, I'd go with both of you guys being mods.
Yeah,
No,
I was just
funny.
gonna post. Why would you want all the extra work? Which is actually no work at all because we don't maintain anything.
They have to be they have to moderating themselves.
Exactly. Which they
You're out
already
of line,
do.
other Brent. Shut up, Brent.
I'm gonna ban you, Brent. Not if I ban you first. Simultaneous ban.
Double fatality.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's funny.
so yeah, that's like been on my mind this whole weekend because it's irritating that so little information's out there, and these people who I think any convention would be lucky to have them there are, of course, only getting one side of the story and going, well, I've seen all the writing on the wall. There's been all these other problems that's happened with this convention, so therefore, this is just one more thing to tell me I was correct in my guess that this convention is not one to hit.
Yeah.
The big thing is like, how many people run a convention? It's like,
Well, and it's been policy in NDK that when people are banned or whatever, out of respect, we don't go public with it. I mean, we could, ban Alex and then go on everything and say we banned Alex because he peed on a, whatever. You know what I mean? Like we could.
again.
And I never know. It's not
This
on
was the
social
third
media.
warning.
But that's how we know it's his.
Exactly. But I mean, we don't because we're being respectful. Later on, it became more also we don't want lawyers chasing after us for, all the various whatevers, But I mean,
No.
and so it's like by policy, we won't talk about this situation. I'm not even, that's one of the reasons why I'm not supposed to be talking about it on stream, but I can talk to you about the history, which is kind of how I'm getting around it. But still, we've still got a problem, which is that we're being respectful. And by being respectful, it ends up hurting us.
I mean, as a staff member, I remember getting the notification because anytime this happens or there's a person of suspicion, everyone gets the picture and says, hey, watch out for X, Y, and Z. And when I saw it and saw the reason, I'm like, oh, this has nothing to do with me. This person is not a threat to any of my attendees. So I don't care. Whereas when we get one that's like, hey, this abusive partner is here stalking their friend, I show it to all my staff members and say, you see them, we get security immediately.
Right.
Those are the people I'm concerned about.
Right. And this guy
wasn't a threat.
Legitimately isn't a bad guy. He's not.
Wasn't a threat. Yeah.
He's no threat. He's actually kind of a sweet guy I am 2 degrees from him in a lot of areas. Like he's a friend of a lot of my friends. And so like he hangs in our crowd a lot in the other the artist crowd side. So it's sad. So it's like that's the other thing is like it's not like we don't know who he was or who he is. We don't know who, it's like it wasn't. I mean, the way he portrays it is so much like it was just like one person just went on a tirade and pushed the eject button and everybody else went, oh crap. Like no,
nobody loves me, everybody hates me. Guess I'll post on Facebook.
Right.
Well, I got the impression, and I could be wrong because I didn't do any research, because until I have a better feeling that like an interview is a real thing that could happen, I'm not going to bother doing any research. But the impression I got is that this person is a YouTube personality and does make videos on the reg, which, like I said earlier in the show, suspicious person always sees all of the possible and usually the wrong motives for things. Part of the motive that popped in my head is like, this person's looking for clicks and they're pushing their show, which could be entirely wrong. Like I said, this is the paranoid part of my brain that does this. And because, like you said, there's people that I know who are saying this person's a decent person, even though I've never met them. So what this tells me is that there's a miscommunication somewhere. It was handled poorly. And the next step is to get that person face to face with whoever it is they're supposed to talk to and say, look, here's what we saw from our side of things.
Except that
happened.
Hi, Distracted Sports.
Definitely distracted.
Except that we were very clear.
Oh, okay. No.
And part of the problem is that
sorry. Distracted Sports' question actually sounds like a legitimate question and not a bot question.
Right?
Yeah, we need to get a vetted statement. That's what has to happen, Ralph. Definitely. But yeah, Distracted Sports. We're talking about a convention situation with a convention called NandesuCon or NDK,
which all three of us work for.
You'll have to rewind, and works a very.
Well, we can give a short answer because I've been outed in the video. I'm one of the directors at NDK, and I'm the director and the historian. So a situation went down between an attendee and the convention, which resulted in the attendee being dismissed from the con and banned. And the attendee then, shut up. The attendee then went to YouTube on it. And that's pretty much what was going down. So my argument is it just feels kind of, I know. I can't, well, I mean, and that's the thing is I can't talk about it. So I can't say what my opinion is or what happened behind the scenes. I can say what he said, but I can't say anything further. But you're right.
No, it as I suspected, whoever needs to be looking into this and doing stuff on the side representing NDK, it's happening. And then that's outside of both my control and any influence and such. Yeah. The part that,
historically speaking, we don't respond to this out of respect for the person, because we could defend the position by showing proof that would be kind of obvious what happened, and then that would smear him.
Which to me, as a journalist, in the place that I'd be starting with him is saying, okay, hey, here are the things that you said that I'm interested in. The rest of the stuff I'm not interested in because I think there's very valid reasons that dismiss these problems. But here's the thing that seems like it has legs. Let's talk about that. If I could ask a question to someone in a decay, what would that question be? And I can get back to you with their answer because I'm doing this as a journalist type thing.
Sure.
And then what would happen is if they bring up what they said in the video, I would bring it up to NDK. NDK would then, of course, say, here's the evidence we have. I would go back to them, and then they would either dispute it or shut up. I don't know. But, I mean, I'm not suggesting this is a course we take. It's just, this is where my mind's looking at this, as in, are they just ignorant of how the situation really happened, or are they intentionally misrepresenting it? Or
Ralph is right. I probably should.
I'm not asking further. These are hypothetical questions I don't expect you to answer, Guy. I'm just saying them out there that if anybody does watch this who's wondering about the situation, it's kind of like, obviously something happened here.
Yeah, I mean, and my concern is not with this individual. My concern's with my friends who are cosplayers
who are being influenced,
who are right now saying, well, maybe we'll never go back to NDK. And I'm sitting there going, now, wait a minute. There's more to this. And then they're like, what is it? And I'm like, well, I can't say. And they're like, well, that's just so NDK. And I'm like, see, now that's the problem. Like these policies.
You, the people that we know, are good, decent people we like to hang out with. But
yeah,
the organizations you're a part of are obviously evil.
But that's what frustrates me. Yeah, I can't respond. You're right.
Now let's switch this to something that is unrelated to NDK, and one of the things that kind of made me concerned when I saw this, it's a different situation to a degree, but as journalists, we were at Starfest when a situation went down.
Yes.
A cosplay, and this is how we actually met a cosplayer friend of ours
Who's a buddy.
a buddy, and 100% stand behind her in her situation.
Yeah.
And a staff member was very inappropriate to this cosplayer at Starfest. It was brought up to Starfest's attention, and Starfest said nothing, which probably because of the whole situation like we're in now with NDK of the must talk to lawyers before we say anything. But the silence makes it look bad. Like in that case, it made it look like Starfest was trying to protect and cover up what went down with this cosplayer and the staff member.
I believe, though, in that instance, I thought we did have upper management saying that they weren't going to do something about it.
Okay.
I thought that was the difference.
Well, I think we got to that point because we interviewed on air the cosplayer, and they showed us some emails that they had received from Starfest. Oh. And I believe that the emails were along those lines of, sorry, we don't have any witnesses besides yourself or something like that. And but yeah, it was not the way to handle that situation. And but my concern is, of course, knowing that silence makes someone look guilty. It doesn't prove them innocent.
Yeah. Well, and that is sort of the problem. I mean, I always think of that whenever I think of our Fifth Amendment rights, right? Like, Troy, where were you on the night of, August 3rd and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I plead the fifth.
Not to say.
Yeah, I plead the fifth. Well, now you're guilty. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like, because it's the thing you were talking about. You're like proving a negative, right? I mean, like, I feel like I should plead the fifth all the time so that I am on record for pleading the fifth for things that obviously I wasn't involved with. Did you eat donuts today? I plead the fifth.
I was an opera singer.
Did you have you ever,
Ralph? I'm going to look this up because I haven't heard.
Swam the English Channel? I plead the fifth. Things that are obviously, I don't know. Because you're right, that's part of the problem.
I don't know about this opera singer's reaction to rage killing in the name of. However, that does make my mind go down the rabbit hole of live theater musicals, Beetlejuice, Bobert. Or the Colorado senator. What is a Bobert? What does she do?
Bobert. She's
representative. I don't know if you had heard this yet, Alex, but Lauren Boebert, the Republican representative for Colorado.
Yeah, the fucking ladder puller. Yeah.
Yep.
The ladder puller.
Yeah, he's pulling up the fucking ladder.
Got kicked out of the musical Beetlejuice for vaping and talking and being a general nuisance during a musical.
General nuisance.
And apparently she said the trope as she was taken out. Do you know who I am?
Right.
But it's like actually said that.
Yeah, I think part of the problem,
fucking dumbass asshole.
Like, right, exactly.
Like, I mean, the thing that made me fucking go, what the fuck is this person doing running for fucking any office, high office of the land, is like, you fucking said, you can't just change the Constitution. It's like, yeah, because women could totally run for office when the Constitution made, you fucking idiot.
Black people.
Hey, watch it.
I mean, all of that's part of it too. Although, did you see that part, the thing about Kunk, whom we love so much? She was like, and this led to the foundation of the United States of America, which was then proponent to be the land of the free, which came to a surprise to all the slaves. It was like, ouch. I was like, yikes. It was like, that was pretty brutal.
Yeah, that was a thing that was actually, like, I've been reading this book about the history of racist ideas and thought, especially in America. And that was a thing that was, it did not escape the notice of the people of the time.
Yes. Yeah, but it's just it reaffirms that Kunk is very much Ivy, because says complete nonsense all the time, and then every so often zinger, You know, there's something that's just like, wow, that one hit.
Thanks, Ralph. I got it pulled up. I'll watch it after the show.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ralph, I know. I understand. The truth is, from NDK's official point of view, this is over. This is not a problem anymore. It's not an issue. So
Which
it's
means
not
that
going to
they
be,
probably
nobody's going to say anything. Nobody's going to talk about it. So, I mean, it'll be history, and 10 years from now, it'll be part of my museum, and that's the way it goes. And
yeah, I guess the cold hard numbers aspect of it is, even though there's people we care about that we don't want having a
Right.
bad opinion of NDK, there's so many other people that are going to come in and replace them
It won't
for
matter.
not being there, that
Well-
NDK's mindset is like, well, they
And-
made their decision.
yeah, I mean, that's interesting. That's definitely true, but that's also very cold. I mean, that wasn't the
That wasn't the intention, but if there's no more
that's
action,
not where we went. We, like I said, we tend to not talk about these things out of respect for the person.
Mhm.
And I can see, though, you saying that, though, I'm like, yeah, I could see that being read that way.
Yeah.
You know, and that'd be, again, another thing that would just make me aggravated. We did something nice for a person, and it instead gets turned into, you know, us being cold and
corporate
heartless.
capitalists. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, we work really hard about the family aspect of NDK, like trying to make us all feel like we're one family
Mhm.
and be warm and inviting and include people. And it's frustrating when these things get twisted and makes it look like we're cold, you know, unfeeling automatons just trying to grab at as much money as we can. And it's like, we work so hard. Why are we working so hard? You know, it makes it frustrating.
Yep.
It makes it very frustrating.
Well, I've only been with NDK in the status I'm part of since 2018, so relatively recently.
Yep. Although you were there at NDK 1.
As an attendee.
I have proof. And
Yep.
you were there at NDK 2.
As an improv performer.
I have proof of that too.
But I know that NDK is raising money for charity, and the charities are always charities that I think are good charities.
Yeah.
And hurting NDK hurts those charities because the charities are the only ones who are benefiting from NDK monetarily.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah.
It's all good. You know, it's a thing. But
yeah,
it's all cool. I mean, like, it's a thing. It's just, I'm frustrated personally as someone who,
well, especially because you've got a gag order basically on you.
Yeah, I've got a gag order. I can't talk to this. But
it's not the
I've
fun
been
kind of
here
gag.
since year 1, and I've worked this con since year 1, and I've been in the inner workings of this con since year 1. And it's like, man, the people really are good-hearted folks that, you know, want to do the right thing. And, you know, and it's like, and most of us are all volunteers. There's only one person in the entire organization who's not a volunteer. All of us are volunteering. We're all doing this.
I'm ashamed. I don't know if that's just for the same thing that you think I should be ashamed for, but
I was saying, yeah, you should be ashamed, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's all right. On to the better things in life. I have officially applied to CU Boulder, and I am officially correcting a mistake that I have done for my entire frickin' life. And I'm right. I'm proud of myself for doing that. And I'm looking into a Boulder. I mean, because, like, okay, so this is the thing. I've tried to go to CU Boulder like 3 times in my life, and this is the 3rd time. And every time I went, I just screwed it up. So the first time I quit because I was an 18-year-old idiot, and so I just dropped right out. And then the second time I went up there, and then Westwood somehow managed to get my name, and they headhunted me. Because I was talking to Buddy James the other day, and I was like, do you remember how Westwood called out of the blue? Like, I'd never been to the I didn't even know what the college was. I didn't even know what it was. And they called out of the blue, and it turns out that they were apparently stealing CU's lists and headhunting.
Hmm.
And they were going after the graphic design students, and I had signed up with CU Boulder for graphic design, and they headhunted me. And then, of course, that became a flaming disaster of my life. And so now we're going back. We're fixing this. I'm actually kind of excited. At first, I was feeling grumpy because I felt like I was retreading over existing things. But then once I started looking at the class loads, it was all Japanese language, because I'm going to be doing a Japanese minor and Japanese culture. And there was like history classes of Japan up to the Meiji era and Meiji era to modern, and then World War II and the Pacific. And I'm like, oh, I'll eat those classes alive. You know what I mean? I'll be so excited to be in those classes. And then all of it's just my Japanese getting up to N1, which is something I've wanted all of my life anyway. So none of it feels now like it's a waste.
Good.
That's good. And so I'm pretty proud of myself on that one. They're talking about where Ralph is. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. When you mentioned Florida, which this isn't Florida, but when I think of Florida, I think of creatures that want to kill you, which made me think of the thing that happened a few days ago in Huntsville, Alabama.
It's not Florida.
Huntsville State Park. It was some Girl Scouts were swimming at the lake, and a 14-foot alligator was caught on video working its way towards them, and they saw it and screamed and swam out of there. But it was one of those things where it's like, good thing it was above water, because if it was below water, we'd be short a Girl Scout or more. But yeah, there's
So
we're not at the top of the food chain, people.
Little time. Yeah,
I'm sick and tired of all these alligators in my pond.
Could we just have alligators with lasers?
Laser gators. It's probably a sci-fi movie. If not, it will be.
Oh, one of the classes that I'm going to take is Japan through the eyes of sci-fi and anime. I'm not kidding. There is literally a class at CU Boulder about anime. And I'm like, well, I have totally come full circle now. I have to take this class just because I'm going to be astonished to sit in a classroom, like an official university classroom, and watch anime.
Yep. You'll be going up to the instructor going, would you like me to do any hour-long presentations of anime?
Right?
I've got the VHS tape right here.
I got the pajamas. Yeah. So it's going to be fun. So I'm actually looking forward to that. And then once I get up into the cultural anthropologist side, then it's going to be fascinating. Studying how people work and why. Why does the mechanism of our culture do what it does? I really want to dig into that. So I'm actually really excited about this. I'm really kind of looking forward now. And that took some work. And I have a lot of scholarships to write for because I'm broke. Which I can say at least in Japanese. So that's good.
Yeah, I think I did know that, Ralph. I feel like I did know that from seeing some nature videos.
But not Crocs.
No, those just squeak when you walk on water.
Right, they squeak. Yep.
Anyway, cool. I'm glad I was able to use up our entire time.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was either going to be that or your birthday we were going to talk about.
Well, what the hell is to talk about my birthday? I survived another year.
Another rotation.
I don't do a lot of really dangerous stuff, so I'm not surprised.
But from my perspective, I'm grateful that you have survived another rotation of the planet, of the sun, and a rotation of the planet too. Just 365 of those. But yeah, so it's I am personally very glad that you have yet again. You have had one more year to hang out with me. Yeah. Life is getting precious as we get older. It is, and I'm noticing how very precious.
Charging more per person I kill.
Yeah, exactly. That's vital.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, for those of you who happen out there, out of the 3 viewers we have left, which we had 5 or 6 at one point, if you happen to have Project Zomboid on Steam and you were interested in playing Mountain Standard Time around noon up until about 5 or 6 this coming Saturday, you can message me on the Facebook Messenger thing, and I will get you a link to that, because I'm doing a good old-fashioned pseudo LAN party of that game as one of my birthday tied things.
Nice.
So it's basically zombies sim survival. And our good friend James told me there is a mod, because normally it doesn't have like a goal other than just trying to create a sustainable situation for you throughout the zombie apocalypse. But there is no like you win type thing. It's like eventually you will die is how it's set up. But there's a mod that is a get from point A to point B, and that's the extraction point, and you win type setup. So that's what we're going to go for with this. So there would be a clear we made it or we didn't make it type thing.
Right.
Cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What was it that just came out that Starfall? Starfall is the first FPS-esque game that I have been interested in a long time.
Yeah, by Bethesda, I believe it is.
Yeah,
Bethesda.
Bethesda, thank you. But yeah, that's one of those that I thought you would be really interested in when I saw the trailer for
I've been looking at it and I've been eyeballing it sideways and thinking, oh, Starfield.
Starfield, yeah. I was just looking at
Starfield. Yeah, I've been eyeballing it sideways and thinking I might need that game. That might be another one where I lose way too many hours. Which right now my time is getting very, very, very expensive.
I'm gonna do like I usually do and just wait a year, and then the next Christmas sale when it drops half off, I might buy it. That's what I did with Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
It's just like,
something else just popped. Oh, City Skylines 2.
I don't play City Skylines 1. I still have it. It's kind of
I actually got into a humble bundle for City Skylines, and they just like dumped a whole lot of stuff for DLC for like $25 because City Skylines 2 is coming out. City Skylines 1 is still pretty darn awesome. So I'm like, I'm good. Yeah. How are you, Alex? How are you not, Alex? How could you not be Alex? Wait.
We're in overtime,
All right.
so are you
Tired.
essaying?
But yeah, I know that we're out of time.
Are you essaying? If you're essaying, we're not out of time.
Oh, I'm going to go ahead and hit the go button over on the other line. I probably should go. I probably should finish these essays and then maybe run. I've learned a thing, which is I'll run an old episode up on the upper monitor and then share that and then put myself in the bottom corner while I'm writing. Because then that way, when people drop in on the thing, at least drawing is happening, you know, even if it's an older episode, and you can still talk to me and stuff like that while I'm essaying. It's just it's boring to watch me write essays. But I think I need to be body doubled while writing these because it's getting redundant, you know?
So that doesn't answer the question.
What?
How's Alex?
Yeah. How are you?
Oh,
Alex?
we're out of time.
That's how you are? You're out of time?
Yeah, we're out of time. It's past
One
10.
could argue that many of us are running out of time, which means that I probably ought to say,
yeah, you get out of here.
Are running out of time. So, thank you for joining us. I've been Guy.
I've been Troy.
And I've been Alex.
And this is Geek Tank.